All right, next up, we have one of the, again, more interesting thought processes, which is the word salad thought process. Now, usually in psychiatry, what that means is someone is just saying a series of words that are disconnected or seemingly disconnected, even though they may not recognize it. But in the USMLE, what this usually translates to is either labs, imaging, or these arrow questions that people frequently have difficulty understanding. And I'll come back to this in a second to make better sense of it. But when we understand labs, right, like the idea of word salad is they give you a whole bunch of numbers, or they give you a bunch of information, and they want you to make sense of it. And it's up to you to understand what is important and what is not important. So, um, for instance, I think let's actually start with this, right? So, if you just have a whole bunch of numbers here, like the BUN and the creatinine, if you know what to do with the BUN and the creatinine, it's very useful. But if you don't know, then you don't know. For instance, right, if we go back to like Polaris, the North Star, Magellan probably could use, or like navigators could use Polaris and the North Star to navigate the world. I myself, I have a little bit of difficulty navigating the world based on just stars, right? But if you know what you're looking at, you can be like, okay, I'm going to connect 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'm going to go from here to here to here, and I'm going to see that this thing exists. Or conversely, you could, start off with like a method and then go through everything methodically. That's what ideally you would do if you have a BUN creatinine level. So if you whatever number you use, 15, 20, some people use different numbers, right? But based on the BUN to creatinine ratio, you could find out if something is a pre-renal versus post-renal versus intrinsic renal disease. If you were looking at a chest x-ray, the radiologist, which I've had the pleasure of learning from, always told me you want to go about things methodically, right? So you want to start off, like there's a certain methodology that you want to go into, which I won't, belabor the point here, but there's a certain way a Gone foci looks like and a certain way a lung abscess looks like. And if you know what you're looking at, it's very clear. And these things have a way of looking very different, but also looking very, very similar. So it's one of those things where if you just study as much as you can and look at as many x-rays as you can, these things tend to make more sense as you study more, and as you understand more and as you see more, right? The same thing is true with different types of shock. So cardiogenic, hypovolemic, septic, neuroanaphylactic shock. All of these things, these are distinctly different. And the reason question writers like to give you these arrows and like to give you these arrow questions as either the answers or sometimes as the question is because they want you to understand and tease out how these things are different. So why is it that the cardiac output is higher in septic shock versus in neurogenic shock? Like, what is going on with the heart, right? What is going on in cardiogenic shock that makes these values like this? Conversely, what they could do is they just need to ask you about one specific thing, right? And based on what's going on in that time frame, based on what's going on with the systemic vascular resistance, it'll clue you in onto what's going on with these different types of shock, right? So it's up to you to decide how to connect these different ideas. And if you know what it is that you're looking for, right, like in an x-ray, or if you look at the BUN to creatinine ratio, or if they give you that, they're trying to clue you into something. But it's up to you to decide, like, okay, this number is important, I need to look at this. Or like, oh, I need to look at the heart rate, oh, I need to look at, this lung abscess, I need to do XYZ in order to work up this patient and to help this patient, right?